Big Bear Stores was a regional supermarket chain operating in Ohio and West Virginia that opened in 1933 and closed in 2004. Thank you for your suggestions.
Discover, discover, discover the hut. Discover the Big Bear Hut. Discover, discover, discover the hut. Discover the Big Bear Hut. It's all of the things that we do, and the way that we do it too. It's low prices you pay, it's the Big Bear way. Discover the Big Bear Hut.
On February 15, 1934, during the Great Depression, Wayne Brown opened his first grocery store in a cavernous building that had previously housed a skating rink, a dance hall, and horse shows. 364 Lane Avenue was a great location across the street from the Ohio State University, perfect for walk-in traffic. The first supermarket in the Midwest, Big Bear was 47,000 square feet. It was huge by contemporary standards. Shoppers liked the variety such a store could offer, with the butcher, baker, and grocer located in one place. Big Bear likely pioneered the idea of one-stop shopping. Its premier store included a drugstore, restaurant, candy department, and shoe repair store in addition to foodstuffs. In the heart of the Depression, homemakers welcomed the low prices made possible by stores' bulk purchases. Moreover, items were attractively displayed so that a customer could pick them off the shelves without the help of a clerk. Traditional store owners disparaged the supermarket concept, believing that customers would steal more than they would buy if given free access to the shelves. Although shoplifting did become a significant problem for supermarkets, the concept of do-it-yourself shopping was here to stay. Big Bear drew 200,000 people on its opening day, and the company opened up a second store in a Columbus piano factory just 1 year later. On opening day, customers came out to see the new store and the Big Bear Bear. And over the next 8 years, no one entered Brown's revolutionary new self-service supermarket without catching a glimpse of it inside a special cage just outside the main entrance. By about 1942, the original Big Bear Bear had outgrown its cage and was given a new home at the Columbus Zoo. But other bears followed, if only for grand openings, helping the supermarket chain grow. Wayne Brown was much more than a creative marketer. He was also a business innovator. By focusing on volume prices and relying on thin margins, the Big Bear chain consistently beat other stores' prices. Competitors saw this coming from the opening of the very first Big Bear store and threatened their suppliers that they would pull their business if the suppliers sold to the Columbus chain. Big Bear found other smaller distributors, but the strike lasted 5 years. From the start, Big Bear utilized print and radio advertising as well as in-store promotions. In 1936, shoppers could win $5 to $25 by mixing words with Big Bear and low prices to create a store slogan. In 1937, Brown and other supermarket owners formed the Supermarket Institute, a professional association for supermarket operators. Through this association, the stores were able to develop and share concepts and conveniences such as motorized checkout counters, wire shopping carts, automatic exit doors, fluorescent lighting, bakeries, and other in-store departments. These innovations made Big Bear Stores the first self-serve supermarket in the Midwest and was the first supermarket in the country to use cashier-operated motorized conveyor belts and claimed several innovative services, including its own trolley line. Big Bear introduced shopping carts to their stores in 1937. They also operated a farm north of Columbus as well as a Big Bear bakery located near the Ohio State campus. During the 1940s, the company went public and continued to grow by building new stores. It also bought out and merged with Miller Stores Company in 1943. In 1948, Big Bear joined with other supermarkets to form Topco Associates. The corporation employed scientists and researchers to develop and acquire products for distribution. Big Bear also distributed their products via Food Club and Value Time as their house brands, as well as their own private brand called Betty Brown, named after the founder's wife. Like many other stores of that time, Big Bear had a trading stamp program as well. In 1954, Big Bear purchased Hart's Discount Stores, which operated stores in Lexington, Kentucky and Evansville, Indiana. In addition to operating the chain, the company drew upon the Hart's merchandise to increase the mix of non-grocery items in the Big Bear stores. By 1956, Big Bear operated 21 supermarkets in Ohio cities with sales of over $50 million and became a trendsetter in supermarket design. The chain introduced a widely imitated layout in which the perishable departments were located in the middle of the store, with low display fixtures to highlight them, while the store overall was painted in a spectrum of pastel colors. Big Bear was also the first in the nation to use the new IBM 305 Ramac accounting machine. In 1957, Big Bear built its first stores outside of Ohio in West Virginia. Keeping in step with the industry, Big Bear continued to grow steadily. During the 1960s, the chain increased a few stores per year, doubling its size by the end of the decade. The company was taken private in 1973, the same year its founder, Brown, retired. The chain was purchased through a leveraged buyout by Oppenheimer Partners, which then became Odyssey Partners. Larger chains such as AMP, Pick and Pay, and Fisher Foods opened in Columbus during the 1970s and early 1980s, but were driven out while Big Bear maintained its hold on 30% of the Columbus market. Continuing its pattern of slow and steady growth, from 1976 to 1981, Big Bear built 10 Big Bear stores in one warehouse market. It opened 3 warehouse stores and 2 limited assortment outlets in existing buildings. By 1981, the chain consisted of 58 Big Bear supermarkets, 4 grocery warehouses, and 2 box stores. With 63 stores and 27 Hart's Discount department stores, the company had earned $8.6 million in fiscal year 1982 on sales of $652 million. In 1983, the company went public for a second time in order to fund its expansion and the remodeling of older units. The company's success began to falter in the late 1980s with new competition from alternative formats like Cub Foods and Myers entering its market area. Due to the increased competitive situation, the chain made the hard decision to put itself on the auction block in late 1988 after 54 years as an independent company, including periods of both public and private ownership. In 1989, Penn Traffic purchased the chain in what some would call a hostile takeover for $290 million. By 1993, the 71 Big Bear stores, along with PNC Food Markets of Syracuse, was merged into Penn Traffic's other retail division, RDQ. The move was made in order to give the parent flexibility, and at that time, loans could be made for a single entity instead of 3 separate ones. And legal and accounting functions were consolidated. By the mid-1990s, Big Bear experienced reduced sales volumes at most store locations. Management responded by lowering overhead costs as much as possible. Longtime Columbus area shoppers complained about declining conditions in the Columbus area stores. As sales volumes continued to drop due to increased competition, it resulted in lower payroll costs, which caused conditions in the stores to decline. At the turn of the century, Big Bear was in trouble. The company began to have cash flow issues in 2003. Product suppliers pulled their items from store shelves as most accounts went past due. The writing was on the wall. Big Bear was hemorrhaging red ink and closing stores. The chain's demise was finalized in 2004 when the last Big Bear store closed its doors, following Penn Traffic's second Chapter 11 bankruptcy in a decade, leaving many fond memories of the once thriving, locally grown supermarket chain and the real-life bears that helped make it successful. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.